organization. The first question I want to discuss with you, what do you mean by design? So this design is totally different than you studied in your classes like machine design or any other design. This design is completely different. It is also called as process design, and I want to explain the meaning of this design. The design focuses on specific processes, the goal of creating models or plans or creating new product. That product is preferentially prepared by the consumer as per the requirements. Design requires creation and vision, applying engineering and mathematical principles and developing specialized knowledge through observation, experimentation, and hypothesis. Sir, my PPT is visible.
Yes, sir. Absolutely
Uh,
fine.
it is a third PPT. Is okay, sir?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. So Herbert Simon is very familiar with this design process. He's the US scientist. He gave the definition of design as devising courses of action aimed at changing current situation into preferred ones. So this action which is required for changing current situation can be preferred in the industries. So we'll discuss what are the changing current situations and how this design process will change, how we require the prototype. So we'll discuss one by one all these questions. So this is a second question. What is design exactly? Design involves informing a concept or an idea to create things that add value to the people's lives. This is very important. The design always adding the value to the people's lives, and hence according to this design process definition, a design is required for solving human problems, planning before production, keeping iterative process, and hence I come to the very important design that is called as industrial design. How this industrial design helps for the development of product or systems for mass production that creates higher value functionally and appearance that benefits both manufacturer and consumers. So this is very important that how this industrial design are helpful for manufacturer and consumers. When you consider industrial design for product or processes, it depends on five parameters. First is aesthetics, usability, ergonomics, marketing, and sales. And hence, how these all parameters affect product and process design. For that, we have to consider some factors. The first factors which affect product and process design is first is the environment. Because of the environment, there are so many changes in the product and processes. Second is the ergonomics. You heard about ergonomics. So ergonomics is the second factor which is required for product and process design. Quality of the product or quality of the process is very important. Then security. Security. Fifth is the functionality. The function of the product gives the proper importance, and because of the design, the functionality change. The sixth is cost. The cost is the important factor to be considered for a process design. Seventh is the aesthetics. You must know what is the importance of design. Design requires creativity and engineering skill. I will not explain the importance of creativity and engineering skills. Creativity is very known, engineering skills. Both are very important for design process. Creativity and design do not mean the same thing. Creativity is separate and design is separate. Creativity is a combination of imagination, knowledge, and curiosity. So from this creativity, there is one subject, creative design. How this creativity is promoted in the industries? It is promoted through imaginations of the customers, manufacturers, knowledge, and curiosity. Design is the conception of an idea, its development into a practical, producible, and unusable process and product. Importance of design depends on the aspects of design. The aspects of design depends on creativity, imagination, knowledge, curiosity, and idea. I will cover all these five parameters: creativity, imagination, knowledge, curiosity, and idea one by one. I want to explain some of the examples where we require the design process. Particularly, we require some engineering skills in the development of automobile design. What type of engineering skills required in the automobile design? I will take some tomorrow one case studies just to understand. For the automobile designs, we require the precision engineering skills, and for that, we require the prototypes, and this prototype inform the design process and help designers to select the best solutions. Prototypes illustrate how they can help designers generate and share ideas, get feedback from the users, choose the best from different alternatives, give reasons for their final choices. From this, just to understand what is the importance of prototypes for the design process, how these prototypes helps the customers, manufacturers, share stakeholders, because particularly prototypes helps designers for the formation of particular idea. That idea may be shared, and when we share the idea, we get the feedback from the customers, feedback from the stakeholders, and when you get the feedback, we have too many alternatives. We will select one of the alternatives that is the best solution, and we will select one of the best final choice or alternative by giving proper reasons. So this design process is very important. The design process involves utilizing many development evaluation methods, including sketching, physical modeling, and virtual modeling. Already I have explained that this design process is intellectual process. We require the very good engineering skills and creativity, and hence then it can be developed. And for that development, we have some evaluation methods. What are the evaluation methods? Already I have explained that sketching. We do the sketch on the papers of that models. And second is the physical modeling. We make the physical prototyping that is visible to you. And what is the virtual modeling? It is not visible, but it can be done by some softwares. We'll discuss one by one. The physical prototyping. One form of model making is the physical model involving rough visual and shape representations to fully functional physical properties. And this physical prototype is visible to you, and hence it is called as physical prototyping. What is exactly virtual prototyping? It is not visible to you. It can be used different softwares. Virtual prototyping is an essential tool used throughout the design process. Virtual models can refer to any prototype created entirely in virtual space that does not involve physical contact with the designed object. As it is not visible to you, we cannot have the physical contact with any prototype. And hence, what we require for the virtual prototyping, we require the computer aided design, is shortly called as CAD, computer automated design, it is called as C-AutoD, computer aided engineering, CAE, and virtual reality. These are the tools we require for making virtual prototypes. And hence, this process design depends on three basic issues. First basic issue is aesthetic design. What is aesthetic? It is looking for good appearance. It is good appearance. Always we are preferring good appearance physical product. And hence, this is the first issue we discussed about physical prototyping, that is aesthetic design. Second is functional design. The third is feasibility of manufacturing. This is the most important, feasibility of manufacturing. It depends on manufacturing process and choices of materials. As it is very lengthy, how we select the manufacturing process and choices of materials, I will not cover here, but you think about it. We have so many manufacturing process in the industries for making product. We have so many choices of materials. And for this prototype development, what we want to discuss about, that is prototype process design. What is meant by prototype process design? First is that analyzes the situations. We have to analyze the situation first. Second is identify the problem. Third is problem solving techniques. Fourth is create concepts. Fifth is prototype and test with users. These are the very important 5 steps, 5 processes of prototype designs. Aesthetic design, already I have discussed. It depends on physical appearance of the product. The choices of the physical acceptance are color, style, proportion, balance, fillings. So these are the 4 criteria of selection of aesthetic design. You have to choose your own color, style of the prototype, proportion of balance means uh, all the balances we have to follow, right side, left side, top, bottom, like that. And what you feel by the prototype. So this is very important, feelings, whether it is good, bad, like that. Functional design. Functional design is very important. I want to ask these two questions. If you are ready for that, you can understand this very important. Does the product meet the functional design objectives? If you are able to answer it, meanwhile you note down this and you answer me last. Does the product meet the functional design objectives? Before start of design of any prototype or design process, we have to write the objectives and you have to follow that objectives, goals. Then you get the correct prototype. What is the next question? What are the examples of functional designs? We have so many examples of functional designs like electric vehicle functional designs, automobiles, any other examples. How you follow the examples for prototype, we'll discuss later on. But just you observe these two questions which are very important to give the appropriate functions of the product. Before start of this, you must understand what is the meaning of prototyping. Prototyping is a core activity in design process and different domains. One of the scientists have developed MHRD regards prototype as a representation of design made before the final solution exists. Some of the techniques for prototyping are used to design interactive systems. So this I want to explain some of the techniques for making prototypes. Once you understand the meaning of prototyping, already this MHRD's scientist, he was the scientist, he represented the prototype and gave some principles we'll discuss later on. He gave the final solution of this. What we require for prototypes, first is the ideation. What is the ideation? Ideation means idea generation. So from this idea generation, we can develop the prototype. But this idea will not be generated uh, just by observing, and hence we have to do the different innovations on it, and hence we have to understand what are the types of methods of innovations. We'll discuss tomorrow because it's very lengthy methods of innovations tomorrow. So just to understand, the first principle is ideation, that is to get the idea. Second is the brainstorming. You heard about brainstorming. Through this brainstorming, we have to do the mind mapping. When you do the mind mapping, definitely you'll get the solution of it. Third principle is design thinking. There are 6 principles of design thinking. We'll discuss later on. The IDEO is a company. They have described design thinking in 5 ways. We'll discuss one by one. Empathy, idea, prototype, testing, like that. And last, the technique we are using to get the correct solution for the prototype, SWOT analysis. What is exactly SWOT analysis? Strength, weaknesses, opportunity, threats. When you use SWOT analysis for the prototype development, for this SWOT analysis, we are able to select one of the best idea from all. Once you understand the meaning of prototyping, you must understand the importance of prototype. Why we require the prototype during design process. Do you have a physical product to show an investor or when seeking management approval? This prototype can be shown to investor, then he will observe it, he will give the permission for the particular product or seeking management approval. So management is the owner of this company and they want to see the model, that is prototype. When they observe the physical prototype and they will give the final permission for the product. Second importance is to test if a specific idea works and test if this design meets the requirements. After making prototype, the prototype is tested with specific ideas. If these specific ideas matching with design, then you can say the requirements are fulfilled. You can test the prototype on your market and analyze customer feedback. Why we require the prototype? There are two reasons. Prototype testing is very important according to the market research. I will not explain in detail here market research because it is very lengthy topic. And according to the market research, according to the market availability, the first criteria for market research is product informations. So through prototype, we are providing the accurate information to the customers. We are providing accurate dimensions of the product. Price may be calculated accurately. Shape of the product we have to decide. Material of the product and finish of the product. So these are the 5 market research we require and that can be tested by prototype. And second is analysis of customer feedback. Whenever we send all these information to the customer give the feedback and from this feedback we have to analyze the most efficient, most cost effective, most competitive feedback so that we can able to produce a new product from the useful feedback. So these are the importance of prototype, why we need a prototype. This is the answer of it. So these are the design processes according to the Morris constraints: synthesis, framing, ideations, envisioning, uncertainty, selections, visualization, prototyping, evaluation, again constructions. As time permits, I will explain all these design process stages. And hence, according to this, we have to generate ideas. It is called a generation of ideas. Designers use the techniques to generate and share new ideas and get feedback from users or customers so that the designers make the final choices. Prototype can support integration in various ways. So you must understand, I will explain the prototype now very clearly, just to understand what is exactly prototype. Prototype is an early sample, model or product release built to test a concept or process. Why we need prototype? Already I have explained. It is early sample. So it is produced before the product for testing. It is also sometimes called as model. It is a model, physical model, or it is a product which is released to build test to satisfy concept or to satisfy processes. It is a term used in various contexts, including semantics, design, electronics, and software programming. A prototype is usually used to evaluate new design to enhance precision by system analysts and users. When we get the prototype from new ideas, this new design as a prototype which enhance precision by system analysts and users. We define prototype as a concrete representation of part or all of an interactive system, a design representation of some aspects such as form, oblique fit. So we have a very important uh, idea that is called as market fit. It is a very lengthy topic, market fit. So in that market fit, we require actually actual design, actual prototype, actual testing. Why this prototype we require? It gives ideas to designers, managers, developers, customers, and end users can use these artifacts to evasion and reflect upon the final systems. Hardware and software engineers often create prototypes to study the feasibility of technical process. What is exactly feasibility we have to observe? Feasibility is the analysis. Last line is very important for you. Hardware and software engineers often create prototypes to study the feasibility of technical process. We have to do the feasibility analysis. It is also known as feasibility studies. And these feasibility studies depends on market feasibility, site analysis, supply and demand, capacity utilization, financial analysis, and competitions. So these are the 6 studies we require for feasibility, and then the prototype can be made by that engineer. What are the general applications of prototype? We have so many applications. I have written in one sentence. Engineers may complete a working model prototype to test a product before it is approved for manufacturing. So this is very important. We require the approval for manufacturing from the owner of the company, and hence how it works, it is given by the prototype. Why we need exactly prototype? Why we are not producing directly product? Because before that we require so many applications of prototype. We get ideas, prototyping. What are the major applications or why we need a prototype? These are the answers. Minimize design error. If there is any error in the prototype, we can modify that, or it is also called as iteration. Iteration means it is doing so many times, and hence minimize design error. Prototype fails to gather requirements and feedback. If prototype is very wrong or it is not as per the requirements, we will get the feedback from the customers, manufacturer, stakeholders, and we gather that requirements and feedback, and we iterate the prototype to get the correct product. Allows for user testing. User means a customer. Customers are testing this type of prototypes. We'll get the feedback and we'll make final product later on. Allow for smoother transition to further stages. If there are minor changes, we can change it. Prototypes attracts investors. So these prototypes are shown to the different investors of the company, and we'll get the correct idea from them to know the true cost of production. What is exact cost of the production, which is decided by the prototype. Prototypes quality assurance. Every manufacturing department has quality department, and this quality department gives the quality assurance, then it is final. What we adjust in the prototype, requirement of colors, different colors, textures, and shapes. Prototypes and the design process. Prototyping helps designers think. What is the designer thinking for making prototyping? Prototypes are the tools they use to solve design problems. So the engineers are using prototypes as a tool to solve design problems. Prototypes reveal the strengths as well as the weakness of the designs. So when we want to test it, we have to note down the strengths, we have to note down the weaknesses of the designs. I have already given the SWOT analysis. Here we are doing the SWOT analysis. Prototypes help users articulate their needs, reflect on the efficacy of design solutions proposed by designers. Prototypes aid designers in the above aspects of working with design space. And hence, all these ideas are helpful for the designers to give the proper aspects of working. Prototypes often make it easier to evaluate design ideas from the user's perspective. The user's perspectives are very important. They give their perspectives of design and it is evaluated by the prototype. Designers must decide what role prototype should play for the final system and in which order to create different aspects of the prototype. So from all these prototypes concepts, we have to particularly designers will create a different aspects of the prototype and he will select the final designs. Prototyping is very important. Prototyping is an experimental process where design teams implement ideas into tangible forms from paper to digital. What is exactly prototyping? Always thoughts. Thoughts are having three ways. The first, thoughts come in the mind, then thoughts come on the paper, and then thoughts come on the reality. And hence I have written prototyping is nothing but paper to digital. Means on the paper we have to draw all this design on the paper, then it is converted into some models, 3D model in digital form. We have the separate design teams. These teams built varying fidelity prototypes to capture design concepts and test them on users. With prototypes, you can refine and validate your designs so your brand can release the right products. So branding is very important. We'll discuss later on. Branding later on. Branding is very important customer point of view. So people are purchasing product according to the branding name. So this is prototyping cycle. Through this first idea generation, we have so many ideas. We have to select idea in one. Then we design prototype, that is design of prototype. Then testing of prototyping. Then we learn mistakes. We learn good things from the prototype. We learn bad things from the prototype. If there are some bad things, we can remove it and we correct it. That is called as iteration. And we improve all the corrections, all the problems in the prototype, and a final product is made. Again, if there is mistakes, again we get the ideas and this cycle is continuously done. We have the 6 stages of prototyping. This the UX processes. UX means here user experience. So these are the process. From this 6 process, how to break down the design process? I am asking question to you. How to break down the design process? This is the first work of the designer. How to apply Next question is how to apply all stages to your project. And hence, the first stage is understand. This understanding is very important. Customer point of view. Always customer is asking, what is the problem? We require brand of the product. For the brand of the product, we have to understand the product first. And hence, there is a one question again. What are the core goals of the brand? When you decide the objectives and goals initially, now it is time to make prototype for the product process. And you have to ask this question, what are the core goals of the brand? If core goals of the brands are not satisfied, then that can be changed. I want to understand first stage, that is very important. That is understand. What is the meaning of understand? It is very important to understand customer feelings. When they use a specific product or service, it includes varieties of feelings like emotions, different senses, and physical interactions. When they feel all emotions, senses, and physical interactions, then designer understand the user's experience to satisfy the customer. Product must fulfill their needs. Hence, researching may be done, iteration may be done, and testing may be done for good design process. Understand stage is important for customers as well as the brand of the product. During design a product, the designer must understand the user's pain points. What is my pain points? त्याला दुःख म्हणतात. मराठीमध्ये ज्यांना मराठी माहित असेल त्यांना माहित असतं की एखादा प्रॉडक्ट घेतला आणि ते खराब निघालं की किती दुःख होतं. And hence, the designer must understand the customer's pain point. Designer must answer of the question of users. What is their problem? This is the first question. To understand first stage, that is first question you have to ask, what is their problem? What issues are you trying to solve for your users? When you understand what the problem facing your users are, and you are able to come up with the questions you need to answer, you are able to create a strategy for design process. Also, you must understand the brand of your product as a designer. Let us say brand. So we require a specific vehicle like Hyundai, Maruti, Suzuki. Every vehicle has a particular brand. So let us say electric vehicle. Electric vehicle has a brand. We want to keep the brand, and you have to understand the brand first. As a designer, you must understand the mission and goals of your manufacturing company. Suppose you are working in one of the company. What are the missions of that company? What are the goals of that company? And we have to understand all the mission and goals of the manufacturing company first. And we have to solve one question. I am asking again, how does this project contribute to that goal? If you are doing one project, you have to obtain question of answer of this question. How does this project contribute to that goal? Hence, designer can understand the success of the project, success of the business. And hence, as a designer, we require always two things: success of your project, success of the business. If you get the success of the project and success of business, you come to the next stage, that is second stage, called as research. What is exactly research? You know, everybody knows the research. As mechanical engineer, you must know the exact meaning of research. As a designer engineer, you must understand the mission and goal of your company. Then you need to solve the problems. You need to conduct research on it. And hence, this research can be done by two ways. One by interviews, second by the surveys. During interviews, we have to ask some questions to users related to their issues, related to their strugglings, related to their feelings about good product. Second, research can be done by surveys. Through surveys, you are preparing some questionnaires. You are sending all that questionnaires to the all customers. Later on, you will get the feedback from interviews and surveys, and then later on you will go to the third stage, that is analyze. What is analysis? Analysis is very simple, as you are doing in your labs. In this stage, designer will be using all of the informations he gathered in previous two stages to analyze. As it is very lengthy, I will not explain in details of it. What is the conclusion? So you are doing the analysis of good things and bad things. Then when you analyze good things and bad things, we go to the design concept, that is a fourth stage of prototyping design stage. What we are doing here, it is a time designer will prepare his design of product. He will prepare a prototype of the product. Then after preparation of prototype, he will launch that prototype. After designing and redesigning, you can launch your product. You can sure about product, whether the product is sure or not, whether what is product is perfect or not. What is your conclusions? If you make last conclusion that product is perfect, then it is given to the customer. If your answer is like that, product is may not be perfect, then we do the analysis again, analysis again. Once the product launches, it is time for another round of analysis. Instead of looking at the results of your research, you will be taking a look at your final product. Some questions you might ask yourself. As a design engineer, you have to ask question to yourself. I am giving questions to you. You must be able to solve it. Where did your process go right and why? Where did we struggle and why? How are our issues responding to the product? Did it solve their issues and pain points? Where can we improve the product? What lessons can we take away from this process for further products? And by thoroughly analysis the product, you will be able to get more out of the experience than just a product. You also gain invaluable knowledge. You can leverage for the future. And important thing is that you find a process that works for you, your team, most importantly for users. If you are getting 6 stages of prototyping in detail, you are launching, you are selling the product to the customers. Already I have explained the 6 stages of prototyping. These are the 6 stages I have explained in detail. Just you look the PPT and check that top all explanation of 6 stages. One of the scientists and owner of Apple vice presidents, former vice president Donald Normal, he made one statement on understand problem. How to understand problem? He made statement during his service when he was former vice president of Apple's. I invented the T term because I thought human interface and usability were too narrow. I wanted to cover all aspects of the person's experience with the systems, including industrial design, graphics, the interface, and the physical interaction and the manual. I have covered all these things, and he mentioned the code for how to understand the problem. I will explain in short what are the advantages of stages of prototyping. I have explained 6 stages of prototyping. What are the advantages of it? It gives users an intuitive and pleasurable experience. It poses an opportunity for designers to iterate and improve their designs. After all, we require the final good design so that we can sell to the customers. So this is very important. How do you say that what it is a product is very successful? I am asking this question to you. What is successful product? So there are three parameters: desirability, feasibility, viability. So for feasibility, we require the technology. For desirability, we require the people. For viability, we require the business. Means technology, people and business are the very important for the product. If one is absent, definitely there is no sale to the customers. And hence we are looking for good technology. We are looking for customers. We are looking for good business. When you think about technology and business, in between two, we have the very important service. We have a process design. When we have desirability and feasibility means technology and people, always we concentrate on functional design because people requires functions of each product in well manner. When we have a people and business, we require the good brand of the product that satisfies the emotions of the customers, and sometimes it is also called as emotional designs. When we combine together all functional design, brand or emotional design, service and process design, then we can say that the product is very successful. And hence always there is a risk in design. So we are trying to reduce the risk of the final design by the prototypes. A risk is a possibility that could significantly impact the success of the project if it occurs. Already I have explained these three terms: desirability. It identifies key requirements and preferences that impact end user. Feasibility. It confirms if solution meets desired functionality and performance. Viability. It validates if the end product is economically feasible and manufacturable. So these are the five processes, five requirements, five processes of the product requirements, product requirements documents. We have required some documentation for the process of prototype and final product. As it is very lengthy, how to prepare the documents, I will not cover here. It means that just you produce the documentation during requirements of the prototypes. Then we go to the design process. For that, we require some software architectures. When design is implemented, this design is implemented through some softwares. We require the verification of the software and product, and after that we have to maintain that product very well. What type of prototype would you need to build for design for project? This is very important questions. If you are able to solve it, you solve your problem as a designer. What type of prototype would you need to build for your design project? This is a question for you. Prepare one case study and apply all the processes to solve the problem. Okay, if you are preparing one case study, we'll discuss tomorrow how to prepare the case study for product design. Apply prototyping through innovation framework. We have some innovation modifications during prototyping. Method of innovations. We'll discuss tomorrow. Design and build a prototype. You design a prototype as you want. Build a prototype. Then you test. you finalize or validate that prototype, and then you can say it is a final prototype. And hence, what are the outcomes? You know that when we teach any subject, every subject has its own outcomes. What are the prototyping outcomes? Refine ideas. We have so many ideas. From the all ideas, we are refining it, and we get only one ideas to get the prototype. We communicate all the outcomes, all the ideas to all customers, all stakeholders, all manufacturers, and our target is to get a good ideas. And when I get a good ideas, I explore that ideas to get correct prototype. If there are so many mistakes, we learn from the mistakes. Again, there is iteration of the project, and next time that mistakes cannot be repeated. And hence, these are very important virtual and physical and virtual prototypes. Already we are developing in all industries such type of physical and virtual prototypes for the development of engineering designs. These are the references. Thank you very much. If you have any question, and we'll take tomorrow detail of uh, any questions.
Yes, student, if any question.
There is one question, I guess. So someone has raised the hand. You can speak now. Sohan,
Nothing, sir.
you wanna ask something?
No, sir. No, sir.
Fine. Okay, all the students, you start your camera. We will have a group photograph. All the students who have joined the meeting and all the participants, please turn on the camera.
This topic is very new for students. Therefore, they are not able to ask any question.
I guess, hello, madam. camera access was not there for the participants. So I have changed the options. All the participants, you can now turn on the camera. I request all the participants to turn on the camera. Yes.
So tomorrow we'll discuss case studies of this prototyping. So I have given some questions to students. They will prepare it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kambre sir. Thank you, Amit sir.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, sir. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you.